just define what we define as a mega community conservancy. This is a standard proposed multiple land use definition for the vast landscapes that surround Africa's national parks. This is ultimately to become the foundation for the building of an Africa conservation economy, or wildlife economy as AWEI would refer to it as, through a scaled socio-economic development plan and strategy for the wilderness communities. On the right-hand side, you will see an example where the yellow line is of how a mega community conservancy in Kenya, in this example, would wrap itself around the existing Tsavo East and Tsavo West national parks as a mega community conservancy. This is an area where we leverage the recognized brand values of the national park. These are leveraged to build connection with the communities and attract investment ultimately into the community conservancy. An example here is the Kafue Community Conservancy in Zambia, the mega community conservancy that has been proposed. And this will be, again, developed around the entire boundary of the national park. These areas are the model of the conservancy is where we believe all stakeholders, including multiple landowners, government, NGOs, the communities themselves, all agree to collaborate under one centralized land use and management framework. And of course, an investment promotion structure, just like a development agency would work for a typical municipality. This is an environment where what we term nature positive formal master land use planning is completed. This is done by a professional team and specialist consultants, as would a typical property development rezoning exercise be done in any landscape. And this team would be tasked with identifying multiple land uses. And once these land uses have been defined, some of them will be productive, and these will be lettable and investable, most important, land lease concessions, which are then taken to market through a very sophisticated marketing strategy. On the right-hand side, you will see a typical illustration of how the national park fits in the middle, and all the land uses of the mega community conservancy fit around it, and those include aspects such as a conservancy hub and even future rural village planning. Most importantly, this is an environment where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And this is what's lacking in Africa. We need economies of scale that are created to build a thriving and resilient, localized country and continent conservation economy, which is most importantly owned and managed by Africans. This is the whole theme of the AWEI conference. And as I say, these type of big idea solutions are much needed in Africa. A few other points around our mega community conservancy model. I need to keep it as brief as possible. Most importantly, and I think a lot of questions will come out around this, is what we term communal planning. Right up front in the model, we do upfront communal planning and workshopping. And this enables us and the communities to get a full collaborative understanding of what the mega community conservancy will do for them in the future in terms of alternative livelihood creation, business development, just creating alternatives that are not currently in place. Another important aspect is where governance and centralized land management creates an investable trust environment. You will find that capital does not flow into these areas because there's no governance and there's no structure in place that appeals to the risk profile of private capital. When we talk about revenues and profit, the lease concession revenues, the business equity and the profits that are made out of these businesses, the management opportunities and employment must flow directly back into the communities. This is not an extractive economy. This is an inclusive economy you're trying to build. And through the set of land use and business regulations stipulated by the Conservancy Constitution that we set up, this then gets enforced by an oversight entity a legal entity like a trust or a community property association, or even a limited by guarantee company, whatever is appropriate for that particular country. This mega community conservancy model, very importantly, is where business development and job creation is a key measurable outcome. We have to ensure the balance between development and biodiversity protection. We believe the 80-20 principle stands true. That means 80% of the land within the mega community conservancy remains undeveloped, and 20% becomes both occupied, if it hasn't been occupied already, and productive. This is where sustainable human settlement town planning happens. We need to consider communities and their needs, and in the master land use plan, we cater for town planning. We make sure that rural settlements are appropriately planned in the areas that are appropriate within the total master land use plan. We also believe in developing a conservancy hub. This is constructed as a management headquarters of the mega community conservancy. It provides offices for business, productivity areas, education, processing. It's something that any organization, just like a municipality, would have a head office in a typical urban environment. A mega community conservancy is where rewilding happens at scale. This is in terms of landscape rehabilitation, the reintroduction of flora and fauna, and often completely denuded landscapes, where everything has been shot out, cut down, or devastated due to the poverty of these communities. We also believe that in a mega community conservancy, a 10-year program is put in place, and that community conservancy, its target runway is to be completely self-sufficient, or at least 90% self-sufficient within a 10-year period, which means that the communities are managing their own livelihoods, their own environment within 10 to 20 years. I think my parting point is that if we follow the process of planning, development, and management, we follow the big idea of these community conservancies, we will solve not only the UN 30x30, but also the SDGs over the next 10 to 20 years. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it, and I hope there will be lots of questions, and there is plenty of documentation to accompany this presentation. Thank you.